This month's Black Car News Summary is sponsored by Next Century Insurance. Have you ever had an issue with your TLC insurance broker? We've heard some nightmare stories, from made-up fees to stolen premiums. Next Century provides free, trustworthy, liability, and full coverage TLC insurance quotes. Whether you're looking to switch brokers or need a new quote, Next Century is a good option. Call 212-419-4888 or email Next Century at AutoMarketplace.com. If you send AutoMarketplace a receipt of your first new Next Century policy premium, AutoMarketplace will pay 10% towards your next monthly installment, plus potentially pay $1,000 towards your annual TLC insurance premium.
In this month's issue of the Black Car News, the cover story is about continuing violence against NYC TLC drivers and precautions drivers can take to protect themselves, including signing up for New York Black Car Fund benefits that help compensate drivers for injuries on the job. Black Car News editor and publisher Neil Weiss focuses his editorial on continuing violence against NYC TLC drivers and how they can protect themselves. Neil is sad to hear of a spate of attacks on NYC TLC drivers over the last few months and fears far too many TLC-regulated drivers aren't taking advantage of services available to them from organizations like the Black Car Fund. Neil gives a real-life example of how BCF benefits helped 36-year-old TLC driver Yadav Dungal receive an additional $6,125 after he was subject to a carjacking attempt on the FDR. Neil reminds TLC drivers, enrollment is free and easy by going to the Black Car Fund driver benefits page. Finally, Neil goes over some safety tips for professional drivers, provided by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. In his monthly column, Ira Goldstein, executive director of the Black Car Fund, shares his industry insight and thoughts on several topics, including New York City congestion pricing. With regard to taxis and FHVs, while I'm glad that a per-ride surcharge seems likely to be implemented, I am very concerned about the exemption being considered for yellow cabs. If yellows are granted an exemption, while FHVs aren't, this would be a clear case of government picking winners and losers. While traditional black car bases may not feel a major impact, the rest of the black car industry is absolutely going to see a decrease in work. It's concerning to see the Traffic Mobility Review Board considering a policy that would drive business away from FHVs to taxis, when taxi drivers are not covered by the Black Car Fund and do not receive the critical safety net of health and wellness benefits we provide. A hearing is scheduled for September 20th for the proposed Green Rides initiative. This initiative would require high volume for hire services, such as Uber and Lyft, to have fleets comprised entirely of either zero-emission vehicles, such as electric vehicles or wheelchair-accessible vehicles in New York City by 2030. This is likely going to be a contentious hearing with many varying opinions, so I encourage everyone to watch it. Ira speaks about two upcoming events that Black Car Fund representatives will be attending. One on Tuesday, September 5th, outside of the Falchi Building in Long Island City, and on Thursday, September 14th at BCF's Driver Education Center in Long Island City. In Commissioner's Corner, NYC Taxi and Limousine Commission Chair David Daus shares valuable insights into the industry. In this month's column, Daus speaks about TLC's proposed Green Rides initiative. History tells us that in the summer of 1897, the very first taxicab company began operations in New York City. It had 12 vehicles, all of which were electric. I am happy to report that last month, New York took its first concerted step back to the future with the announcement of TLC's proposed rules for its Green Rides initiative, which would require all high-volume trips to be either zero emissions or wheelchair accessible by 2030. We look forward to feedback and comments at our public hearing on September 20th. Our goal is for all of us, the regulator, private industry, and drivers, to come together and go green. Black Car News contributors Ira Goldstein, Executive Director of the New York Black Car Fund, and Matthew W. Daus, current President of the International Association of Transportation Regulators, and David Daus, Current TLC chair should also be congratulated for making City and State's 2023 Transportation Power 100 list.